Myself, I'm Anthony, and Jay's going to be the one who's going to be leading the presentation, and we'll answer your questions as we go along. Just a little bit to help us answer your main questions and show you the parts of the program that are going to benefit you the most. You're currently using RBS. I think you had mentioned something around 6 or 8 users, and your main concerns are driver notification and confirmation as you operate 24/7, but you don't have dispatchers 24/7. But if a driver does not confirm 2 hours before the trip, you want someone to get some kind of a notification so that the customer isn't sitting there waiting for their bus. Okay.
Yeah.
What other concerns or things are you looking to be able to resolve?
I know one thing as far as not only in dispatch, but in when we're doing quotes and confirmations and in the charter department, that one thing that is very irritating to us is that if we're in the middle of doing a confirmation or doing something and someone calls and are looking or has a question about a quote or something, is there a way to go from one confirmation to a quote without losing the information that we have?
Yes. Yes.
Maybe, it hasn't been created yet, but we don't want to.
Okay, so you're saying if you have maybe you're working on a quote, you get a call from a customer and they want to check on one of their orders. So basically you would have a window open for the order that you're creating, and then you're going to open another window to check on that particular customer's current order.
Oh, okay. So we don't have to lose what we've already done in order to open up another one.
No, Kara, this is Jay. Yes, good morning. Yes, what you can do is, you notice that I'm actually in middle of taking an order, and I'm taking the information here as far as the pickup information, destination, and I'm in the middle of it. But I can go to any other parts of the program and then look up the orders for that customer. So
okay.
I can see that, okay, we quoted you this much, and then when I'm finished with that, I can go back to the that order. And also, if you notice, I'm running inside a browser under one tab, and I could even have another tab open with 2 different instances running at the same time. So you can,
okay, great.
Yes. You can do that easily in our system. Yes. And then as far as the questions about the driver notification, we'll get to that in just a little bit as I'm going through the order entry. But go ahead, Anthony. Do you have any other questions for them? Go ahead.
No, I was just wondering, is there, what other things are you looking for the program to do for you?
Well, possibly, like right now we have a credit card process. We use Heartland.
Mm-hmm.
But it does not, it is not workable with our RBS. So what we're having to do is run the Heartland, then go in and post the payments and stuff into RBS.
Okay. Now, is Heartland merchant services that you have a contract with?
I'm not sure. I mean, I know we've been using them for several years. I don't know if we have a contract with them.
Okay. First of all, we do have a gateway built into the program so that it's authorized.net, and in most instances it will work. It works with about 99% of the credit card merchant services out there. So you could contact them and find out if they will work with the Heartland. We have another solution built into the program that we recently added. We personally do our own business through Alavon, which is a Costco partner, and the reason why we did is because we save about 1% over other merchant services. And so we figured, well, why not pass on these savings to our customers? And so a lot of our customers are now using Elevon, and they're able to save 1%. And when you consider that 1% over a year, you're talking about thousands for an operator of your size.
Oh yeah, that would be huge.
So it's something that you can look into. We do offer both options for those. We do have customers who are locked in with their merchant services for sometimes it's a year or 2 years, and they just signed up. So we do provide the authorized .NET gateway, and that way you can process the credit cards right in the program. And we have a lot of other things. What else we do have included with the program is the fleet maintenance. And we just got back from UMA earlier in the month, and while we were there, one of our customers came up to us, and he was telling us how they had just gone through an inspection, the FSCMA inspection, and he told us that the inspector came up to him and he says, I'm going to give you something that I haven't given anyone, and you probably never see it again. He gave him 100% on their inspection. And it was the first time anyone has ever come to us and told us, yeah, we're using DriveWare, and we were able to get these results just through the fleet maintenance. And we know that the program isn't perfect and there's always room for improvement, but it was really nice to hear. They're down in Atlanta. But so the fleet maintenance is included in the program. I don't know if that would be something you're interested in. If you're already using a program, that's fine. But we'll go ahead and where would you like to see us start? Do you want to see us start in dispatch? Do you want to see orders being created? Are there things in accounting you want to see? Let us know, because we can start wherever you want, and then we'll just go from there and you can ask your questions.
I guess let's just start. I mean, for Rick and I, it's mainly like, can we start like creating a quote and then confirming it, or making it a confirmation, and then from that point seeing what it looks like for the dispatch screen.
Sure.
I've got Heather and B, our safety director. They're at ABA right now.
Mm-hmm.
And B would probably, I'd like for her to be able to look at the fleet management part of it.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what she uses now, but I know it's not, we don't have it in RBS right now.
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and do that. We can just, we'll go ahead and start there, and then towards the end, we'll just kind of quickly just show you a little bit about the maintenance, and then when she comes back, we'll schedule something where we can go into it more in depth.
Okay.
So Jay, you want to just go ahead and start
Yes.
with creating an order?
Yes. Incidentally, Kara, that we were at Costco a few years back, and we were shopping there, and I just was with my wife, and I noticed that they offered credit card processing. So I looked into it, and I just sent you the information while Anthony was asking you the questions, and so you'll be getting an email with information about Costco credit card processing. So Costco has a program that they partnered with Elevon, and Elevon is owned by U.S. Bank, so it's a direct kind of credit card processing, because we're not going through any third party for processing. That's why the fees are so low. So you only pay $5 a month for access to their portal, but there's no additional cost on your end. So you just pay that 1.99, and sometimes it's a little bit higher because of maybe a corporate card if they use a corporate card. But other than that, it's been very good for us. We like it. We use them for our own internal credit card processing. In fact, we use DriveWare to process our invoices and send out the receipts. And so when you're processing the payment, all you have to do is just click that. If there's a partial pay, for example, if it's a deposit, you put in the deposit amount, and then you go ahead and click on payment, and put in the credit card number and the expiration date, and click on payment, and it brings back the approval code immediately, and then you can send them a receipt. On the day that the trip gets completed, all you have to do is select that same card from the list, and then go ahead and do the full payment.
Oh, okay.
And then you just click process payment, and you can send them the final receipt. So it saves a lot of time because you're doing it in one step. Plus, you're paying less for credit card processing. If it's hundreds of thousands of dollars in credit card processing, even just in a year, even if you save 1%, that's quite considerable. And so we were paying anywhere from 3 to 3.5% with our previous merchant processor, with our processor. So we're saving quite a bit switching to Elavon. You have all the information. I sent it to you, so you can look up the information. If you want to stay with Heartland, then all you have to do is just sign up with Authorize.net, and then you'll be able to use Authorize.net as the gateway. So you would just put in the credit card number and then click process. What Authorize.net does is transfers the information to Heartland. It verifies the card and it processes it, and then it sends it to Heartland, and Heartland does the final processing.
Now, is there a fee for the Authorize.net?
Yeah. Yes, they do charge a gateway fee, and I believe of course, yeah, they're definitely.
Actually, if you look at the pricing here, it's not going to be the same as the pricing that they offer our customers.
Oh, yeah,
I believe
it's a little
they
bit
get a discount.
Rate, yeah. So they also have their own processing, but you notice that they're a little bit higher. I don't recommend their processing plan. I would just go with the gateway, which is $25, and then I believe there's a transaction fee. But it's nice because it saves time. So a lot of our customers do use Authorize.net, but then we have some customers that are switching to Elavon, and they really like it because of the lower fees.
Okay, let's go ahead and.
Okay. All right, so let's go back to this is our main screen, and you notice that we have our quick start. This starts a reservation, starts a quote. The vehicle schedule shows the equipment list and what times each vehicle is scheduled for, and that's for availability. We have the same thing for drivers, so you can see the driver's schedule, their availability hour by hour. We have the customers. In our system, you can have one customer with many departments. So you might have one school that have maybe 5 or 6 different departments, and when you're taking orders, you can take the orders from the different departments, but then all the bill is under one account. All the billing information is under one account. Okay.
Like now we have, for when I do invoicing, I have a parent that is, let's just say, Virginia Tech, and then all its children is rolled up under that parent.
Yes.
And it could be 30 other, customers. So is that kind of like what I can do? But can I invoice them separately, or will it all be sent to that?
No, you can invoice it and send it to both departments, so they can see that there's an invoice here, and each department can get a copy, and then also the main headquarters gets a copy. But it's all under one account.
Or you can send it to the individual department. It doesn't. Yes. You don't have to send it. You can send it to both, or you can send it to the individual.
Exactly. Yeah, you have the choice.
If I want to run a report of something of all the something under Virginia Tech, I can do that too.
Yes, yes, you can do that by department, yes, as well. Yes. Okay, and then so we have the customer information, which is this icon here. This is our dispatch grid, and with the dispatch grid, you can look at just one day, or you can look at um, several days at a time, and you can customize the grid, so you can move the columns around and get it to look like exactly what you're used to. The dispatcher might be used to a certain format. We'll go over this in just a bit because you need to see how we confirm drivers. So we'll cover this more detail. I'm just going over just really quickly as far as like what these icons are for. This is just a list of orders and quotes. So if you're looking for a specific order and by number, or you just want to see all the invoices or all the quotes, you can easily sort them that way.
Okay.
Yep. These are the drivers, and there's a list of drivers, and we have all the detailed information about the renewals, and everything is there on the drivers. Then we have the time cards, and our system calculates the time cards so you can do it in batch. So you put in the date range for your pay period, and then the system calculates the time cards, and then you can also extract the gratuity from each order without having to re-enter it. It just goes into the sales order and gets the gratuity and adds it to the time card, and then you can print the time cards. So we do it in 1, 2, 3. Create the default pay rate, copy the gratuity, and then print. Now you may also have some additional items for per diem, which we can add to this.
Or like meal money.
Yes, exactly. And then there could be taxable or non-taxable, and then you print the time card. So that's the time card system, and then this is our vehicle information. Each vehicle and vehicle type. Now, when you're looking at availability for sometime in March, a lot of times this availability screen doesn't work for you because you haven't assigned the vehicles yet.
Right.
Okay? But what we do is we use this screen, which shows you the availability based on the vehicle type, because you have always assigned, you always assign the vehicle type that the customer is requesting.
Right.
So that's already in the order. For each order, we have that. So we know how many vehicle type 47 they need. So we can actually give you an inventory of what you're going to have on that day. See, on the 30th, you have only 147 packs left.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. This is showing what's left.
Yes, and this also considers all the vehicles that are out of service. So you get a true picture of what you can sell. So if somebody's asking for 247, you know that you don't have that available, but you know that you have 7 57s available, but it goes down to 6 at 11.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you kind of look at this. The salespeople always use this one to kind of get an idea what they can sell, and
right.
They have to farm out, or because this will always give you the information you need because it has the vehicle type. Now, a few days before the trip, if there's somebody's looking for a bus, it's nice to come here because you've already assigned the vehicles. So
right.
You tell, okay, I do have the 523 available, because there's nothing scheduled. Okay, so this is our payment processing. When you're recording checks and you need to apply the payment to multiple invoices, you use this option here, and then you put in the check number and then you apply to multiple invoices. And you can also apply the credit and send them a receipt. This is our vehicle maintenance, which we'll get into later. This is our report designer formatter. What we use this for is basically a lot of times when we have customers signing up with us, they come from different systems and they have requirements for some custom-made type trip sheet. And so we have these these templates that we have created over the years, full page, and this one has the driver's log. So I'll show you what it looks like, and then you can customize this yourself, or we can help you customize the trip sheet. So this is the template that we include with the system. These are some of the templates that our customers are using. But we're finding that every customer, every client that we work with, their drivers are used to a certain format, and they like to see that format. So we use the report designer to maintain those custom formats for you. So you can go in.
Drivers change.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, drivers don't like change.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So here you can see, for example, I can go in here and use this one as the starting point and say this is for car. So now that's the new layout, and I can go in there and notice that I can format this. I might want to say driver trip sheet, driver. So you can change the format any way you want.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
So that becomes your standard trip sheet now. And then when you print, you might want to delete something here. You don't like this one here. You delete that. Just want to show the pickup. So that's your layout now on the car. Okay, so that's the report designer. And this one is just for utilization. We can see how many days a vehicle is being utilized. We can see how many hours the vehicle has worked, how many trips it did, and you know the how many miles and what's the sales. So that's the utilization graph. And okay. All right, so let's go through the system and just create a quick quote. Now I'm going to assume that we have the customer already in the database, so I'm going to just type in like the first few characters of the company name. It'll find it, and I'm going to create this as a quote. It's for today at 10 a.m. and we don't have to fill out the rest of this information. Just these are all optional. And we're going to put in the pickup information. We can look up the information. And if we already know how much we want to charge them, we can just put that in here and be done with it. But if we want the rate table to calculate it, we can just ask our rate table to calculate the charges. So here it's calculating 512 because this rate has a $500 flat rate for the first 3 hours. Each additional hour is 150, and the mileage rate is 225. So if we had a mileage of 1,000, obviously this would be 2,250.
Right. Okay.
So the system's calculating both. You see.
Yeah.
So now it's charging them the one that's greater. But if I want to just overwrite this amount and charge them a flat rate of 600, I can. And then I might want to add a gratuity of 10%. And I may want to add a fuel surcharge of 5%. It's all calculated for me. And I may have some parking fees, but the parking fee, I have to put that in manually.
Okay.
Driver's room. Okay, so that's it. I can go ahead and now send them the quote. Now I can print it. So there's the quote, and your logo goes here, by the way.
Okay.
And then it tells them what day you're picking up, what time, and the depart time, the pickup location, the charges. Very clear what they're getting, what are the charges. So now you can either print it, but most of our customers don't print anymore. They just click this option here and email it right from the system.
Right.
It automatically puts the email for the customer, and you just click. You can also select one of your standard templates.
Oh, okay.
And then just click send.
Okay. Can I noticed on the time that you had like a spot time and a departure time? Is that something that we can change per customer, or
Yes.
is that a setup that we would do like across the board is 30 minutes or whatever?
You can do both. So
Okay.
you can go into the system settings and define that when I put a pickup time, always use these calculations. Pickup time
Okay.
minus 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yard time, pickup time minus 45 minutes by default. But in some cases, you might want to override it. So you can come here and override this.
Gotcha.
Now,
Okay.
the reason we use the yard and we use the term yard, but it really doesn't really mean that it has to be yard. It just means that what time you want to block this vehicle as not available. So
Right.
really, realistically, you might want to say that this vehicle is not available at 1 hour before the pickup point, pickup time. And so you can overwrite any of this yourself, uh, and then to get a true availability by time. And so you can override it, and then when the customer says, "Oh yeah, we want to go," and everything looks good, you can just
Mhm.
simply change this to a work order. You're done. Now it goes through the dispatch, and you can simply send them a confirmation again, maybe with the different terms and contracts. So on the terms, you again define what the terms should be. You can go in
Okay.
here and put in, this is the terms, this is your general terms, but you may have contracts that are specific to a group. For example, maybe it's a party type bus or maybe a school. And then for those, you can have custom contracts. So you can select from maybe a school one,
Oh, okay.
school dance. Now the terms for that will be different than the standard one.
Right. Like we have what we call drunk trips
Yes. Okay,
that we
definitely.
charge dollars for cleanup fee.
Yes, absolutely. And you see, notice that this is something that one of our clients has done. How they highlighted certain areas,
Mhm. Yeah.
and they have initials for certain areas. So these can be customized, by yourself. You can go in there in the system setup and under contract terms and define and add additional ones too.
Okay.
Not limited to just what we have. Same thing with credit card form. This is the standard one we have, but if you like to, send them a different form, you can. Now we are e-signature ready. So I know that transportation is still not quite there yet with digital signature, but we've already done all the work that's necessary to integrate our system with services like DocuSign. You can actually send the contract. You notice that here when I click on email, there's an option here for e-sign. So
Okay.
instead of emailing this customer the contract, I can send it to them as an electronic signature document. And you notice
Got
that all I have to do is just click send document, and it creates the document and sends it to the DocuSign service, and then they sign it electronically. They can
Oh,
do it from
okay.
the form. We are ready for it, but we've introduced this to our customers, and some of them are very, very interested and they want to get ready. They want to, they want to use it, but it's an additional add-on, and sometimes they don't want to do that. It's the unlimited documents is $50 a month. I think 150 documents is $25 a month. That's a completely different service because you have to go through services like DocuSign. But we are
Right.
ready for it. We've done all the work our programmer has done already, all the integration, so that we're compatible with those services.
Oh, okay.
Okay. As far as we've already processed we've already just converted this to a work order, but we might want to require a deposit, right? The deposit
Right.
of $500 is required by 0201. So now I can send this, and the customers will see that, and they need to pay that deposit right there, and they'll call back with the credit card, or they fill out the credit card information and send it back. So now you can go ahead and send them a receipt and say partial pay 500, and then process the credit card, and then send them a receipt.
Right.
Now I
Okay.
can send them a receipt. If I print it, it can say receipt. Again, you can email this right from the system, so you don't have to print anything. And it shows
What
that.
if most all of our customers, we either have billed accounts that pay, post trip, or we have most all of our customers pay like $100 per bus. Is that something that we can set up as a general setup that unless we change it, or will we have to put everything in there per every customer?
Well, the way we have it so that it calculates, you can set up what we call like deposit calculation, and it's under accounting, I believe. So you can say that 10% is always due 20 days before the pickup, 5% is due before the pickup date. That's how we do it. But generally, you have to either put it manually or use this formula, unless we add another formula for you. That's one of the things that you'll find with us. We always listen to what our customers are doing, how they're running their business, and we make changes. We make changes to the program. We are willing to make the changes that's necessary. We just had a company switch from another software vendor, and they spend close to $10,000 on that system. But one of the main issue was with that other product. I'm not going to name the product. It's not necessary. But the main issue that they were referring to, and the word that they use, quote unquote, was rigid. The program, they couldn't change it to, and this is a 80-year-old company that has been around in
Right.
Chicago, and they wanted certain things changed in the program to accommodate their needs, and we did that for them. We changed our program, we changed some of our reports, some of our templates. So that's one of the things that you'll find, that if there's something that you are doing and you've been doing and you're used to doing, we're willing to make those changes for you. We'll listen to it, and we talk to our programmer and find out what it takes to add that. Is it is it very complicated? It's a simple thing. We just add it. We don't go into the details. But if it needs some like input from our programmer, we need to bring it up and say, okay, this is what we want to do. What does it take to do it? And then we get back to you. But this is the way we have it right now as far as deposit calculation.
Okay.
It's not per bus. It's a total. Based on the total, it calculates like a percentage, and you go from there. Yeah. But we can definitely look into that for you if that's what you want to do based on the number of buses.
But we can't override it per quote at this point.
Yes, you can. Absolutely. You can do it right here.
Oh, okay.
Yes. You can tell how much is required. You notice that I have the calculate amount, the calculate, which you can use, but there's no calculation formula, then you can just overwrite that basically. Okay. And even you notice that it even calculates when those dates are for the balance because of my formula. It looks at the service date and it calculates it. Yes. But you can override it easily. Yes. Okay. So the next thing we talked about, quotes and orders, and then the dispatching part. So now you have the order as a status work order, and it shows up under the dispatch grid. Okay. So you notice that we have columns here that you can move around, by the way. But we have the dispatch status, the driver. There's no driver assigned to this one yet. So what I can do is I can say, a lot of times you might want to find out if for particular trips if the driver is available. So we have this option here for emailing drivers for availability. So I can say, okay, send this to Anthony and send this to Herbert, and see, let's say if they're available. So what this does, if you notice that it sends a message to the driver, an email message gets sent to the driver. They say basically, are you available for this trip? This is like a pre-trip to see if the driver is available. And you notice that it says that here's the trip information. We're these are the stops, and this is the pickup information. What time you're leaving, what time you're going to be leaving, and are you ready to accept this trip? You notice that if the driver says accept, what's going to happen is the status immediately changes to confirmed, and it will show that that driver and Anthony Osuna just automatically did that. You notice he's
Okay.
confirmed because he accepted the trip. So we know that Anthony responded to email and confirmed it.
Okay.
That
Okay.
is actually really a time-saving feature for dispatch.
Yeah.
That way the dispatcher doesn't have to actually be picking up the phone and calling a number of drivers. You can use this option to cover that for you so that they're sending the email and then the first one that responds will accept it. Any other drivers who get to the email later, if they click on accept, they're going to get a notice that the trip is no longer available. So the driver the dispatcher has saved time, and you're giving your drivers the option. The first one to respond is going to go ahead and get that trip.
Yeah.
And then you notice that there were other options in that email so that the driver can click that they're en route. They can click they're on site, and if they're on site, the customer will get a email letting them know that, we're
Okay.
here.
Carol, you notice that we have the auto refresh here on. What this means is that even if the dispatcher doesn't refresh the browse, it's doing it automatically. So as the driver clicked on the en route option, automatically refresh the browse for us to show us that it's now en route. That driver is en route. And optionally, if you set it up that way, you can in the system there's an option where you can have it automatically send an email to the group's contact email that the driver is en route.
Oh,
So
okay.
it triggers the email to send to the group contact, and then the same thing when the driver is on site.
Now, on this screen, on the dispatch screen, can you only show confirmed trips?
Yes, I'm showing that.
Okay.
Let's go back here. So now notice that it changed it automatically to on-site. So you can click on any of the columns and then be able to see by the confirmed. Let's see, I think it's by type. Let me see if they have a tab. I believe there's an option here where you can click on a tab and it'll change it to only the ones that have been confirmed. I'll find out for you. Oh, right here. You can change it so that you can see, you can create your own, like confirmed, not checked in, and so you can see how it filters it based on that query. So I have a
So
query
that
here.
checked in, is that the driver not checked in?
This
Or
one is yes. You can create the query and then basically define what the dispatch status is and then how you want to name it. So you can be very creative in terms of how you want to display and filter this browse. For example, if I want to see all the ones that have been paid, I can say use the date fully paid. But in this way, you can say dispatch status is equal to, and then we have like the list of codes you can basically look up and then save that. So you can define what those are, and then see now that I have another one. You see, confirm. So I need to just find out what the value is for the confirmed. It's 13. So all I have to do is just change that value to 13 now, and I'll be all set. So the numeric value, I notice I looked it up. It's right there. It was right there on there. Is equal to 13. So you can have 4 or 5 different queries. So none of them are confirmed. Okay, so let's go ahead and clear that query. And let's go ahead and do the driver confirmed on this one. Because that one is confirmed now, right? So there it is. Now I can only now I'm showing just the driver confirmed ones. If I want to see all, there's all. If I want to see just the ones that are driver pending, I can do that too. I can have as many categories as I want.
Okay.
So you can filter that browse any way you like. And then you can also say which ones are paid and which ones are not paid, because it will have a fully paid. It will have like an icon here.
Okay.
Yes. So this is the way that you can confirm drivers, find out if they're available, and then there's also another feature that we have that would help you with that problem that you mentioned. We have the automatic emails. We have a service that runs 24/7, and it looks at the pickup time, and it can send a reminder to the driver and a reminder to the customer. So you can set it up so that it sends out a reminder to the customer 24 hours before the trip. It can send the driver 12-hour notification, and it can also send a reminder even as a wake-up call for the driver. So say you need to be available within a few hours. Sends a notification to the driver.
Yeah. And yeah, can it just smack them in the head if they haven't woke up yet?
Yes. Unfortunately, it can't do that yet. There's no. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, this is something that we've had a lot of complaint about this. Like always problem with the driver availability. They say that they didn't get the trip. They didn't get the email. They didn't. They're excused. But this way they have already confirmed it. They've clicked that button. They've confirmed it, and also they've gotten several reminders that there need to be, doing this trip 12 hours before. You don't have to do that. It does it automatically. So if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, our service will send it out. You don't have to be there to do it. In fact, we have a client that works in Arizona, Arizona corporate coach. They've been able to go from, I think, just a handful of buses, I think, to up 35 buses now. And they use the service, and he's the one that forced us to add the service because he was coming from Lemo Anywhere. And in the Lemo business, they were using that. They were in the Lemo business, and they came to the motor coach, and he said that without the service, he won't be able to operate. And so we added the service, and he's been using it for almost 2 years now. And he says this is just such a big time saver because the customer gets a reminder and the driver gets a reminder automatically.
Yeah, that's one of our big things too, is because we've sent, right now what we're doing is either texting in information and texting it out to each driver, or scanning in a itinerary and emailing it out or whatever. But let me ask you, if, let's say, because we just hired this new driver who does not text and does not have an email, do you have anything that calls and does some type of I know this is crazy, but does something leave some type of message or something on their voice? I don't even know. He does not text and he does not email. So is there any option for him?
No, unfortunately, you have to have a smartphone in order to take advantage of these services. We have the texting service, we have the email notification service, and
Right.
we are going to implement a driver app, but we are not really excited about that too much because there's just too many apps that they have to install. This the way that we have it right now, it works with any phone, any kind of phone, and it just has to have an email capability. And
Right.
so um, to answer your question, no, it doesn't call out,
Right.
the driver. It just uh,
25% of our drivers, I would say, or it's just a few because most of our drivers are, older.
yes. Well, I mean, the thing to remember though is that a lot of them are going to smartphones, and I think if you encourage them and to have one to be able to get um, the trips ahead of time, they will be
Right.
encouraged to get one. So if
Yeah.
you tell them that we are starting a new system that will send you the trip information so that you can confirm with us for availability, and if
Hmm.
you have a smartphone, you can just do it from your smartphone. They might be encouraged to go ahead and get one.
Right.
That's really, and then the rest is also a little bit of training, to say that, okay, if you get an email, these are the options, and this is what our email notification service, which is automatic. It sends a notification to the driver, and then 2 hours before the trip, it sends an email um, to the customer with the driver's name and phone number. So you might
Oh,
be getting a lot of calls about who's my driver, what's the phone number in case I need to call my driver. Our system does that automatically, sends them that information.
can we do that, like, say, 48 hours in advance or something?
Yes, yes. You can do 48 hours. You can do 36 hours. You set it up. We are even going to make it so that you can go in there and change the format any way you like. So you can go in to the system setup and say that I want my outgoing emails to look like this, to have the the yard time, the pickup time. So you decide what the layout should look like when the email gets sent out. And these are the tags that we use. Percentage means that this is a field that you need to get from the trip detail. And in some cases, you might even want to, if it's a farm out, you might want to show how much you're paying them for the job.
Right.
So if you put percentage, as if you don't want it, you can delete it.
Okay.
But if it's there, then what it does, it grabs that information from the trip because it looks at the tag, and then it gets that information from right here.
Okay.
Just to quickly go back what you were talking about, Jay, in the notifications. Currently, DriveWare does not require that your drivers have a smartphone for the email feature to work. Is that correct? Is that
Yeah, most of them
Jay?
have, but
Yes.
Can you
Uh,
hear me?
yes, your question. Okay, I guess your question is towards me. Okay. Oh, yes, yes. Well, when I say smartphone, I mean, a phone that has the application, for an email client, because it's easier to work with an email client like an app. Uh,
right.
you can use the browser capability of a phone and log into an email
No, but
site.
what I was saying is in order for the driver to receive that email, they don't have to have an iPhone. A lot of older drivers still have just, they don't have the capability. They don't have smartphones. They have the older flip phones, but they can receive email.
Oh
So
yeah,
as
they
long as
can. Yeah, as long as they can receive email. Yes, that's correct. Or they could just have a PC at home and they go and they check email on their PC in Gmail or Yahoo, and they can respond from there. But
Okay.
as far as texting, well, yeah, they have to have a phone. They have to have a
yeah,
phone with texting feature. And I wouldn't call um, a phone. It doesn't have to be a smartphone to receive text, because even the older phones had that capability in them. Uh,
Right.
you know,
Okay.
it's just when I say smart, I mean like an application client, email client is much easier than logging into the through the browser on the
Right.
phone. It's just harder to read through the browser, and so that's why I said smartphone, because with the smartphone you can install an app. You have you have the capability
Right.
to install an app, whereas
Well, a
with the
lot of
older
them
phones.
don't have like their electronic logs and stuff on their phone, so the majority of them have that capability. So,
Yes. No, I mean that's totally up to you. But these are the features that we have available, and if they have the better phones, I think they'll see that they'll see the benefits and they'll upgrade because they
right.
do want to get those trip offers electronically, and they want to be able to log in and see their schedule. That's something that I haven't shown you yet. They can actually log in through the portal and see their trips.
Oh,
So
okay. That's
yeah, like for example, like if they're at home and if they're on their smartphone, then they can log in. So notice that I have a login here, and I can log in as a driver. So now as a driver, I can see my calendar
and
on.
it only shows what their trips are, right?
That's right. That's only showing their trips, and so they can look at each month, and they can look at it in weekly format or like an agenda format. They can also look at the trip detail, like they want to know where they're picking up from. They can see that, but they can't change anything, obviously.
Right.
Now,
And they can't see all of the trips, right?
no, they can't see that. No, they can request time. These are the three things that they can do. They can see their schedule on a calendar. They can look at the trip details with the trips, and they can also request time offs.
Right.
That's all they can do. The rest of these functions are for customers. So customers can request the quote. So you notice that I'm requesting a quote for tomorrow, and I can say, okay, well, I'm going to be picked up at. This is something you can hook up to your website, by the way.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Okay.
So I can put in where my final destination is, and then I can put in my email.
Second.
If
My
they
my screen's gone blank, and I'm trying to get it back up, and
Sure, go ahead, take your time.
I don't know why it's
Maybe
taking
just the
forever.
screensaver. It could be the screensaver. If you just press anything on your keyboard or your mouse, it should bring it back.
I've been trying to do, and it's still just
Yeah.
staying black. I wanted to screensaver. I mean, to sleep mode or something.
You
Yeah.
And
you if you want to log out and log back in again, that might help.
I'm at somebody else's desk, and I'm not used to her computer. I'm just wondering if it automatically goes. It did it a few minutes ago, but it came right back up. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Take your time, girl.
Let me ask you this while I'm
Hmm.
trying to figure the stupid thing out. Um, Going back to confirming for a driver, and you said where they go, like it sends the driver something out 2 hours out or before the trip or whatever. Um, I was asking Anthony about, is there a way that we can send something to the driver, but the driver has to like confirm to us, that they've received that message. And the reason why I say that is like we had a problem with a driver the other night that didn't show up for his, didn't show up on time. And so the customer, of course, called and woke up Mr. Abbott, and the driver had overslept. And so he was asking me if there was a way so that, if the driver does not confirm in some way, that 2 hours before or 12 hours before or whatever, that, he could be notified somehow, like
Yes,
a
yes,
text
yes.
goes to
It's
him.
definitely doable through our automated service. The reason is that our service is a computer program that's running 24/7. Okay, so it's triggering events based on that right now it's triggering based on the time. Okay,
Uh-huh.
but our programmer can add the triggering event based on the dispatch status. So if the driver has not confirmed, the the system can look at the dispatch status and send you and Mr. Abbott, both of you, an email, and it can send you a notification that this driver has not confirmed. And but I think one other thing that you're going to uh, basically prevent by adding the automated service is that because our system sends the automated reminders, I don't think that you would have this problem coming up as much because the driver is getting a notification a couple of
Right.
hours before, but because it's all
Okay.
automated and
Right.
you don't have to sit there and do it manually. But if you want to, as the dispatcher or the manager or the president of the company, receive notification based on the status of the orders, that's also possible very easily. Not too much programming is involved. And that's the kind
Okay.
of thing I was mentioning to you, that we listen to our customers and their needs. And if there's
Right.
something that can improve their operation, we add it. Um, we can definitely uh, add something like this where you could be notified of certain trips that are um, like in question. That they look like the driver hasn't confirmed. It looks like somebody might just miss this group, and we can notify you. And maybe just one or two emails in your company can be send a notification.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's just, I mean, even though the driver knew everything that he was supposed to do, you know,
Yes, one of the other things that we have is you can actually in our system you can sign up for it's a very inexpensive service where actually there are some that are even free where you can actually see if the driver has opened that email. You can show the driver that he opened the email even. So when you send them a trip information through email through our system, you can see if the driver has opened it, and you can show them that you can see the logs, and the driver will not be able to tell you that didn't receive the email because it shows that it's been opened. So there's different ways that you can deal with this, but I think the simplest would be to definitely send the reminders automatically so that there's no question that
right.
you didn't notify us. Secondly, we could add that predictive type, reporting where, we can predict that maybe this driver doesn't seem to be, confirming this trip, but hasn't been confirmed. We can send you maybe a list of those trips that you may need to reconfirm. That's another way of dealing with it. So it's sort of like what they're doing, I guess, in Chicago is I
I
just saw it in the news
think we
yesterday.
lost them. I
I'm
think
sorry.
we lost them.
I'm trying to join back in with you. I can hear you,
Okay.
but we're
Yes, I was just
Okay.
saying, I just saw something in the news yesterday, which was really interesting, is that the Chicago Police Department is implementing this service where their computer system can predict where and when and who is going to commit a crime, and they're going to prevent it from before happening, based on the data that they have. So it's like computer predicts that this trip may just have a problem and will notify you that the driver hasn't been confirmed or hasn't received any emails back from the driver, hasn't received the response, and be able to notify you because it has to be based on some kind of a category, right? Whether it's not confirmed or not
right.
reconfirmed, you know. And we can do that. We can do that by the status. Maybe
Okay.
maybe maybe you want to do a two-step confirm process. You know, one would be the first one, which is the driver confirmed, and the driver maybe 2 weeks ago or a week ago told you that he was okay with this trip, it was confirmed, but
Right.
then you can do another one, which would be a driver reconfirmed. Or sometimes our customers refer to it as driver checked in.
Right.
So if,
Yeah, that would be good because, um, we have to manually call them every day before their trip, and that can be, really time consuming if we've got 50 trips going out the next day.
yes, absolutely. And you want to let the automated service to do that, to remind them. And also the customer, your clients, your group,
Right.
needs to be confirmed. And one of the other thing that we implemented for one of our customers in Northern California was in regards to to quotes, where you have quotes that are outstanding, and the customer assumes that they've confirmed,
Right.
but it's a status quote in your system, and a bus doesn't get sent out, and the customer calls and says, "Where's my bus?" And you don't have the bus available because you already sold it. So
Right.
what we did was we added another automated service for MTS, Michael's Transportation. They have lots of buses, and they need to know this ahead of time to be able to confirm the bus. Is that our system now sends an automated email to the customer saying that your quote is going to expire in 72 hours.
Oh, okay.
So the customer needs to call and confirm. And if they don't confirm, then obviously they're gonna um, let it go as a quote and not do anything. But if the customer gets that notification, they've reduced that problem to minimal. I mean, they're constantly getting calls now from customers saying, okay, well, we need to confirm this now.
Right.
You know.
And we can set that to like a certain like time frame as far
Yes,
as.
that's something that we're going to let you do the number of hours. Right now, the way that we have it is embedded. That's what they wanted. They wanted 72 hours. But he
Right.
actually called me, David called me a couple of days ago, and what they like to do is actually increase that because they said even 72 hours is not enough. We want to make sure, you know, even longer period so that they have time. So
Yeah.
we can give you the option where you can go in and set that up. Right now, I think we have 12 hours before the trip, and you can see that in the log. By the way, those emails that get sent out automatically, you can see them in a log.
Oh, okay.
So it shows the 12-hour notification, 2-hour notification, which email was sent to automatically, what was the reminder, and so it shows you what was sent out. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we can do that. Yeah, we can give you the option to overwrite that the number of hours any way you like.
Because we may have a customer that's calling today to get a quote for a trip that's leaving out tomorrow.
Yeah, no,
You know.
it will send it will send the ones that um, you know or have not been sent yet and are already past the 70. So it will send a reminder for that one. It knows that it hasn't sent a reminder yet to that one.
But
So
it won't send a reminder if the trip is if it's less than whatever you set it for. Like say if they do it, I don't want a quote to go out, how can I say this? Because then what if they call us back and we don't have a bus available?
well, see, all they're getting in the notification is that this quote is going to expire soon, and you need to call us to confirm. And if they call you, then you have to look for a bus for them for that time. And
And
you
it's
say, yeah.
if we don't have one available.
Yes, that's why the maybe 72 hours should be increased to, and that's why they wanted it and a higher number. So then
The
that way
way,
they,
Yeah.
yeah, and we actually had one of our customers at UMA say, well, instead of doing it that way, do it the other way. So once the quote has been created, then it's based on that date. So that it would be done, 48 hours after the quote has been sent, the
Mm-hmm.
customer is receiving an email saying, we still haven't confirmed this, so that there's no assumption done.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Those are just some probably some tweaking that we have to do there to make it work for you in exactly the way you want it. But at least this way, they are getting the reminders, you know, and they're going to have to act on that or on that code.
Yeah, we definitely have some customers that think that just because they got a quote that they definitely have a bus.
Yes.
Whether a penny in or not, that has happened.
Yes, it does happen. Yes, and that's why this feature that we mentioned would definitely benefit you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the. Can you see our screen now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one of the things that you notice that I'm putting in here, I'm putting in the information online from the website. So you could have a button on your website that brings the visitor to this page, which will have your logo, by the way, and then they put in what type of bus they want and number of passengers, and they add their address and so forth, and they save this. So what happens is it generates a quote number, right? 161. And it
Right.
also sends you a reminder that somebody just requested a quote.
Oh, that's good.
Right. So if I go in here, you'll see that it says reminder, it's a quote. Somebody requested a quote. And now in our system, in your system here, you'll have a quote number 161 that you can go ahead and give them a price.
Oh, okay. That's cool. So we don't have to retype everything back
No,
in.
they can put in all their itinerary in the notes and it will appear in here.
But what if it's a customer what if it's a new customer?
It adds it automatically to the customer file.
Wow, that's cool.
Yes.
Okay.
So now I can just send in the code to them. So if it's already in there in the database, you'll see it. It's under Smith, and that it's because it finds it by the email. So if the email is already there, it doesn't add it. It just updates this information. It puts in the information, and then it puts that under that record. But if it's not in the database, in the customer database, it'll add it.
Now, is there a way that I can say, look at how many quotes
Yes.
we have done today or something like that?
Yes, absolutely. You just come in here, you put in the date range for today or tomorrow, and then you say, show me all the quotes. There's all the quotes that you've done.
Okay.
And you can go ahead and follow up on them and call them.
Okay. That's let's say I'm doing a quote, like a lot of our colleges may do a trip that involves, it may be a 6-7 day trip, and they're going to, they have like 3 or 4 different destinations.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just, one destination. They're going to play here, then 2 days later.
Good question. Yes. You notice that each order has a stops tab.
Okay.
So this is the stops tab that shows, okay, if I click on show all stops, you notice that it shows the first pickup and the destination and then back. The reason is this is a round trip. If this was a one way, then it would just show the pickup and the destination. Now, I can put in the stops in between. So I can say, after you pick up here, go ahead and stop here.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And then here we're going to do this. We're going to do some fun activities. And then that's the note. And I can even spell out the information as far as what time you need to be there, what time you're going to be departing that stop. And so it's all explained. And I can even say that for the customer confirmation, I don't want this to print, but I just want it to print on the driver's information.
Right, okay.
And only the driver will see this part of it. Okay. So then what you can do is, so there's one stop after the pickup point. And then on the way back, you might want to say, and then I can put in as many as I want, by the way. I can just say, okay, and also stop here. stop here, and then on the way back, I want you to stop here. You notice it's all by numbers.
Right.
Because each one has a sequence number, line number.
Gotcha.
And if I
Okay.
make a mistake in the order that I entered it, I can move it up and down.
Oh, that's cool. Or you don't have to
Re-enter it, yeah.
read it. Um,
And that will print on the driver's driver's trip sheet, and it also prints on the confirmation, so that both the driver and the customer know what time and they're being, they're stopped, what time they're. This one is the one with the log graph that shows the driver can actually fill out write down their logs, and there's the all the different stops here. You arrive here, you stop here. It shows all the different stops.
Let me ask you, can you insert an itinerary like a PDF or an Excel file or something from a customer?
Yes, you can do what you can do is you can copy and paste the itinerary into the notes tab or into the stop, but we are going to give you an option here for you or your customer to be able to, when they're updating, when they're entering the reservation, when entering the reservation here, they can upload their files themselves.
Oh wow, okay.
And then it will go into your Dropbox account. So what our goal is to store this information on your, because Dropbox gives you 5 GB worth of storage at no charge. So, and most of these files are small, and so you can basically, we're hooking up our system with Dropbox, and you can, when they upload, they're actually uploading it to your Dropbox, and then when you go to the confirmation to print the confirmation, it will be able to know which documents are associated to this contract.
Okay.
So when you print it, you can either print that for the driver, or you can either email that to the driver and have it always available. But in most cases, what our customers have been doing is just copying and pasting the itinerary into the trip itself. So it's always viewable when they click on the Notes tab. It's a lot easier to see everything here than to have to go and to another document somewhere else, to load up another document, a separate document. But you'll be able to do that easily with the Dropbox integration that it's in the works right now. Yeah, we'll definitely have that.
We have, we do a lot of college athletics.
Yes.
And so we won't get an itinerary from them until probably at the earliest a week before the trip. Well, we may get 3 revised itineraries before the trip actually goes.
Well,
so do you just to
one of the things that you could do, this is just a suggestion. I mean, I don't know as far as you could give those customers their own portal with their own login, so they can look at their own trips, and they can only maybe change the itinerary area, not the times, but just the itinerary. Like they want to be able to type in whatever they want as far as the different, and then you have to verify it before you commit to it. But they're just doing the inputting for you, so you don't have to do anything. One of the problems with re-entering information is error, data entry on re-enter. But if you give the customer their own login name and password, and they can log in, they can see their own trips, and then you let them put in the changes that they want, and when they submit it, you get a notification that they've made some changes to this order. Not the times. Obviously, you don't want to let them change any of the times, but maybe just some of the itinerary as far as the different like stops that they want to do, what activities. And so you have to confirm it, obviously, but they did the data entry for you. You didn't do that. So
if they mess up, then it's their fault, not
exactly.
ours.
So you're giving them a login name. So for example, in this case, I gave this customer, see, you log in as an admin. You're the admin. And the admin can set up users. So you can set up, for example, this Anthony is set up as a driver, but this one here is set up as a customer. So customer could be ABC school bus. And so you say you log in as ABC school and your password is pass and you're a customer and you assign this record to this customer, maybe one of the schools. Let me find one of the ones here. Like for example, Viejo Casino. So now this customer login is associated to Viejo Casino. So when they log in as customer, they can see their own trips, and they can change some of the information. Maybe you'll just let them change the itinerary, but nothing else. And when they're uploading their files and their information, they're doing it themselves. They might not even want to use a PDF. If they have access to your online reservation, one of the things you'll find that they might just find it easier if they go to your website and enter the itinerary through there. So then there's no need for PDF creation.
Right. I mean, some of the little one-day trips, I'm sure, but some of our trips that, for our athletics that, are along 6-8 days, their itineraries are 3 and 4 pages.
Yes.
So, yeah, those are the ones that will email.
Right. And if they were able to copy and paste that into a large note field here, would you think they might want to do that? If they just copy and paste?
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, it's probably depends on who's handling it. If it's an administrative assistant, they probably wouldn't have a problem. If it's the coach himself, he's not going to want to have to deal with that.
So for that, what I can do is I can have another button here that says attach PDF or attach file, and then they can just upload their files for you, and it'll be saved along with that reservation.
Okay.
Yes.
I see the map. So what kind of do y'all use PC Miler or?
Well, we are using Google and Bing, and those are free. And PC Miler, we are talking with them right now as far as because our system is web based, obviously, and so they have something called API. Most of our communication with other services that's through API. So in fact, I have an email right now from one of the salespeople at PC Miler, and we're trying to negotiate a rate for our customers so that you can use PC Miler instead. But if you notice that in here we have currently the Bing Maps, and we also have Google Maps, and those are free. And so what it's doing, it's showing you all the different pickups, and then you can get the mileage from that.
Okay.
And then one nice thing about this is that you can actually get the live miles versus the deadhead miles, and you can even tell it which yard you're dispatching from, so that it will calculate the deadhead miles for you.
Okay, that's cool. Let me ask you this about, a lot of our trips, since we have to watch our 10-hour driving time, if we need to add a relay driver onto a trip,
Yes.
a driver, because we possibly, even though it's only one bus, we may require 2 drivers.
Yeah. You can have, not right now I have driver, and then I can also have the second driver. So I can add a column here for second driver and the third driver.
Okay.
I'm going to move that up so you can see it.
Okay. All right, that's cool. That's good.
So you can have more than one driver.
Just trying to think. Can you think of anything else? I'm just wondering.
You notice that it does give me the notification about medical and license. If the license or medical for a driver is expiring, it'll tell me.
Right.
And if there is a conflict, also it will tell me.
Oh, that's good.
Do you mentioned that you work with different universities and whatnot. Do you do any line run type work or school bus?
We don't do school buses. We do a Virginia Tech shuttle that we do to Arlington, Virginia twice a day. But we are looking into doing a New York City Express from some of our colleges.
Mm-hmm.
That right now we're just kind of talking, and it's one thing that we're kind of looking into a software that can, students, if they want to buy tickets for this line run, that they would be able to do that, from their phones or whatever, to be able to purchase a ticket.
Okay. We do have a program built in to DriveWare for line runs. It's for school bus or line runs because some of our customers do university line runs where it's just something that they do on a daily basis or a certain number of days. So what Jay is showing you right here is that you can easily schedule that for an entire month if you wanted to, and exclude holidays or exclude weekends, things like that. But as far as the ticketing part of it, we don't do.
Okay.
What are you looking at?
As far as like ticketing and stuff like that, we haven't.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, we haven't. It's just something that right now we have a company called Home Ride that they charter our buses to do this kind of work for Northern Virginia and the Hampton, Virginia area. But some of our schools seem to think that there's a need for New York City, and so we're just kind of throwing it out there to see, if we can help with that. But we're still trying to figure out how we're going to do that. Right now, they would have to call us and actually, purchase the ticket through us. We were just trying to streamline it for some of these college kids because they're not going to want to call and, talk to somebody actually on the phone, So we haven't even looked at any programs yet.
Well, we can talk to you about that, when the time comes, when you're ready. We can definitely, because we have the web portal, it's possible that we could integrate it with the line run module.
Okay.
Yes. And our line run module would definitely help you with the weekly schedules that you have. You probably want to use it. You could also do cloning. I mean, you could clone the orders for different days of the week. So if I have an order here and I want to clone that for the next 2 weeks, I can. I can clone that for the 21st and through the 28th. So it just did it. It just created the same order but for different days.
Oh, okay. Now let's say some of our trips may have, anywhere from a few weeks ago we did 30 buses for one trip. We took one of our colleges to the governor's inauguration for the parade, and they needed 30 buses.
Mm-hmm.
So from the dispatch screen, would it show? I mean, it would actually show 30 lines.
Yes.
It shows a line per bus for that same work order, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure so that we can see all the drivers listed.
Yes, absolutely. You need the 30 records shown in the dispatch so you can deal with the assignments and deal with the conflicts and deal with the individual even pricing. If one of them might be doing something different and there's a different price for that one, you can even do that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good. Say I want to. Is there like a calendar or schedule that I can look at? Okay, who all is available on, from February 5th through the 8th? What drivers are available?
Yes, you can go into the driver schedule and then just click on each day and then see the hourly availability for each one. But we also have what we call
You have the monthly view there also.
the monthly view. Yes, that probably would be easier. Probably, you're right. Here, just do the monthly view, and it'll show you each driver here and what days they're available. So anything that's blank is available.
Oh, okay. 1 second, we lost our screen again. Oh, okay. So let me just look real quick. All right, so we can put in their dates that they're vacationing or whatever, or can they go in on a login and put in the dates that they're not available?
Yes, you can actually mark them off if they're not assigned the trips yet and you want to mark them off as not available, you can do that. You can go into the driver, that particular driver, and then in the time off, mark them off as not available from this date through this date, and that's it. That's all you have to do.
Oh, okay. Does the driver have capability of that?
Yes, they can actually request it, but you have to approve it. And once it's approved, then yes, they can do that online.
Oh, okay.
Through the web portal. Remember, I showed you that they can log in through the web portal. So here, when they log in, one of the options was the driver could request a time off.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that will show up on the grid. Yeah, that's not available.
Okay, yeah, that would be.
Yes, and you notice that we are running inside the browser, so this is running on the cloud, so you can access it from anywhere. So you could be at home, log in, and do your work, and any of you can log in from the browser and do your work. And you notice that the speed is identical to almost like a regular desktop app, a regular Windows app.
Right. So can we look at, well, I guess you could, because I can see whatever trips for the next 6 months that this driver has been requested for, or.
Yes, you can look at all the different work for that driver, and you can even print it for them and email it to them. So I can say, okay, show me all the trip sheets for this particular driver, and I can ask for the full page so I can email it to him, or I can just look at a summary one.
Oh, okay, yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Because especially for the line runs, they don't really want to see like full page. They just want to see the summary format. That's why we have the summary for the line run type drivers. But then we have the full page for the ones that are doing charter. So these are all the trips for this driver, and we can email that to the driver right from here.
Yeah, I mean we can kind of do that now, but it'd be nice if the driver could actually do it himself if he needed to.
Sure. Yeah, they can do that. They can request time off. They can look at their trips. They can look at their schedule. They can print it from anywhere. They don't have to get the email from you. They can get their own. They can print their own itinerary.
Is there a report that I can run? Let's just say we've got a busy weekend coming up, and there's a report that I can run to say, okay, I've got 30 buses on schedule, but I just got to see how many drivers I have available.
Yes, you can use the. Well, we can still use the dispatch grid because you can change the date to be a week. And so you could change it so you can see what's going on the grid itself.
Right.
And you can even filter it further as far as what's been unassigned, all the orders. Definitely this would be a good place to look at it, but then you can also look at the availability on the for each vehicle, and then look at each day, just go through.
But can I run a report to see what drivers I have available for that particular time frame.
I would say the best would be like what Anthony mentioned is we look at the monthly view. And so now you're looking at the drivers and you're looking at the monthly view, and you can look at next week or next month,
Okay.
and then see on the grid which drivers are available. Because these are the drivers you notice on the left here,
Right.
and these are the days of that the days in that month. So we can look at see Herbert is not available on the 2nd, but he's available on the 3rd and the 4th.
So
We do
it's
have
like the red, he's working, purple, he's not available, or something.
Yeah, this one just shows that there's a conflict. There shouldn't be anything red here. So he's got some kind of a conflict with another trip, so it shows as a red. That's probably because I was cloning a bunch of orders and I didn't clear the driver.
We do have other view options available. One would be through the web portal that's available, and then we do have another calendar that you can look at based on the day, the week, and the month.
Okay.
Well, see here also you can see the availability by driver, by vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because right now, the way it is, we would have to kind of manually go through. Let's say the military calls us and they need 10 buses tomorrow. I would want something that I can, run a report quickly and go, these 10 drivers aren't working and are available.
This does give you that information right here. This grid does give you that information because it's listing all your drivers, and then it shows if they're available that day.
Okay.
So if you're looking at, like, say, tomorrow, you could see here that on the 31st that all these drivers are available because
Right.
there's nothing scheduled.
You could actually click the 31st on the calendar also. You could go straight to that day.
Yeah. I mean, because we have probably 85 drivers.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so that's why I was wondering. It's not a real short list. So, and our goal is 150 drivers. So.
Yes. Well, I mean, you can scroll through here and see that, but we could also look at as far as availability, because we do have sales reports for drivers even that shows you all the different days and what drivers are working, what they're doing. But what you're looking for is to see which drivers are available. So what you're looking for is to see which drivers have the blank, grid, cells. And so you can scroll easily from page to page and see that.
Okay.
Another thing that we have is another way for the utilization. You can see which drivers are working the most here, and then decide, okay, well, these drivers already got too much work. We can give the next trip to a different driver. And
Okay.
so you can do that as well. But definitely, I think the monthly grid is what you want to be looking at. You need to be looking at the monthly grid.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, we definitely need that.
Yes.
Of course, they tell us they're available, and we call them with the trip, and somehow they got a doctor's appointment or something.
Yes, no, definitely.
Those things can be added into the system so that when if they do have something scheduled, such as a doctor's appointment or whatever, they can actually go in through the portal and request that particular time off. It doesn't have to be the entire day. It could actually be a block of time that they can request.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
And so then those things will actually be reflected when you go to click on them. That's why the driver notification in the dispatch part of the program works so nicely, because if you click on that particular driver to offer them, it's going to come up saying this driver is not available. So the dispatcher can have both the dispatch window open, and they can also have the driver's schedule open. So, and they can go to that particular day. So if like you said, you have a customer who says, oh, we want 5 buses tomorrow, they can go directly to that day, look to see who's available, and immediately email them. So then those things are going out. And if there is any kind of a conflict, you'll get up that pop-up warning, say this driver has already requested this time off. So then he could just go to the next person in the list.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. There's so much of this that we're doing manually that it's just, yeah, this would be so much more helpful.
Yeah, we are doing a lot to help our customers through automation. Of course, automation does have some limits to it, but there's nothing that you can't just go ahead and do manually. We do have things in place that are running, like the scheduled emails and whatnot. And the web portals has, we're continuing to add features to it. And like Jay says, we really do listen to what you have to say. So the program already does a lot for you, and of course, we only have so much time to cover different things. There's a number of reports that are available to you, running the time card system. There's the fleet maintenance, which is fully integrated with this part of the program. So like if you're updating fuel or odometer and things like that, that's available. There's multi-level security, which one of the things is you have multiple dispatchers. Maybe one dispatcher likes to see his view one way, and another dispatcher, she looks at it a different way. So the program remembers, based on the user login, which view to show you. So if David comes in and he's the dispatcher for the morning and he has his view, when he logs in, it's going to show him his grid. And then if you have, Sue in the afternoon and she logs in, it's going to show her grid. The way they like to see it, the way they have it set up. And so even if you have somebody in operations who wants to be looking in, but they don't want to see everything that the dispatcher has, they only want to see certain things, they can hide columns, or they can arrange the columns the way they want. So, these are things that have developed over time, just in conversations with our customers. And part of the what we do on a weekly basis is on Wednesdays, we have a forum for our customers to come in and ask questions. We introduce new features. They make suggestions. And that's one of the way we just get information. And then people, somebody will ask a question or make a comment, and then that'll trigger something in somebody else's mind. Oh yeah, is it possible to do this? And so we have a working list that obviously things are higher priority than others. If it's something that is universal where everybody's asking for it, that's going to float to the top. But if it's something that you need, that's a must-have, we can do those things. So like Jay likes to say, there's nothing that can't be done. We just have to know what it is you want, and then we have to be able to say, okay, well, it's going to take so much time, this many hours to do this, and what the cost would be to get that done for you.
Right. And it's interesting, Kara, that we started this this feature for the notification for the customer and the drivers through the email, but it actually, we're finding that most of our customers are using it for driver availability. In other words, they want to see which drivers are available, so they're using it. And in fact, this is the verbiage that we took from one of our customers, that this is what they're saying: are you available for this trip? And they're using this, basically the paragraph, if you accept this, then you're responsible to find a replacement, for yourself if you can't fulfill your obligation. So, the technology that we developed initially was mainly for triggering the events where if the driver clicks, and presses the option for on site or on en route, to be able to automatically notify the customer. But we're finding that our customers are using the technology more for chip availability to see, which drivers are available that day.
Right.
And you can go in and change this any way you like. You can type in whatever you want in the HTML editor and edit it. So we might create a technology thinking that it's going to be used in one way, but it gets used in a different way.
Right.
Yeah, in fact, at UMA, one of our customers who uses this on a regular basis came up to us and said, "Is there any way we can do this to notify the customer once the trip is done, so that they can rate you?"
Yes.
And so that's one of the things that we are working on, so that when the trip is completed, the customer will get an email automatically, and then they'll be able to rate the trip, rate the driver,
And put
and
notes.
it becomes part of the record.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there'll be a new tab in here for customer rating notes. So they can rate the trip, put in any notes they want, and then there'll be maybe two or three different type of questions you might want to present to them, and they can answer. And so it's sort of like you would do with like SurveyMonkey, but the problem with SurveyMonkey is that obviously there's no association between the trip and the response from the customer. Whereas here, each trip will have a customer rating, and then you can see the associated driver for that trip.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it really nice. Then we can get reports about drivers. We can get reports for customers and find out which customers are becoming unhappy with our service.
Well, speaking of that, is there a way in a customer to say, because I mean, we have some customers that absolutely do not want these certain drivers
Yes.
on their trip again. Is there a way that somewhere on that customer we can put that in there?
Yes, you can. Yes, there is a place here where you can put notes, and you can put in the notes that are pop-up. So you can say here, do not use Anthony
Okay.
for this customer.
Okay.
So this will be a note that is associated to that customer, and when we are generating the order for this customer, you'll notice that we get a message.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Yes, and you can do the same thing for maybe an invoice that's past due for a particular customer. You need to notify sales, so you
Mm-hmm.
can do that. So
Now, will it? I mean, because when we do the order, that's going to tell a lady that works in the charter department. But will something notify the dispatcher if he tries to assign that driver to that customer?
it's very easy for me to add that, probably less than an hour, because the notification is in the customer file and it's noted as a pop-up. So what I can do is in the notes, when you're creating a note for the pop-up, I can put notify dispatch. And
Okay.
so if the note is notify dispatch, when the dispatcher goes to assign the driver here and chooses Anthony or Herbert, it will pop up that message.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely something that we need, because so many of our athletic teams are very particular on their drivers.
Yes. You could even put message that use this particular driver if available. You could
Oh
put
yeah,
message,
that's something too.
do not use this driver, but use this driver instead. And so when the dispatcher is assigning the driver, it'll pop up that message that
Okay. One other question. Let's say we have a driver that, we go in and we do, we do a lot of baseball teams that, have a bunch of trips from like April to August or September. Is there a way to assign one driver to all those trips that one time,
Yes.
or is it something that we would? Okay.
You can do that a couple of different ways. One would be just to, assign the driver and then clone, and then it'll copy over the driver. You could also do it in the line run module, because in the line run module you can say that the default driver for this run is going to be Thomas.
Mhm.
And so when you create the run for that whole time,
Mhm.
it assigns Thomas as the driver, but maybe on one day Thomas is not available, you can overwrite that with a different driver.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Yeah, because as of right now, we would have to go to each charter and change it or do it, and we can't assign the driver from the order. We have to go to the dispatch board to do it.
No,
So,
we even have one
Oh yeah,
other
you could
feature.
definitely do it in the order.
Yes, we also
okay.
have another feature. I think we added this for this specific reason. That is, I think it was tag. You tag one, so you say you assign this driver, and then you tag that one, and then you say um, copy driver.
Oh, okay.
So it'll copy it to all the remaining lines.
Oh, okay. That's good. Yeah.
So if I want to
Okay.
change one, it's also easy because I can go in here and change it. So let's say, for example, I changed the driver to um, Mia Nelson, 51. Okay, so
Mhm.
now I want to copy that to all the remaining um, buses. I can just say copy to all lines. It's done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That saves a lot of time too.
yeah. So you don't have to go to each one.
Um, Also on the invoicing, say that we have customers and they haven't paid their full payment and it's a week before their trip. Is there something automatic that will send them a reminder that they need to pay it?
Yes, I mean, if you have deposit put in there, and then it will give you a pop-up. It will give you actually a grid that shows the ones that need to pay. And also, we noticed that we also mark the invoice, the ones that are paid with a like a little green box, so you can actually see
Okay.
which ones are not paid and follow up on them. For example, here, when you apply a payment and something is fully paid, you'll notice that it has a little green box.
Uh
Okay,
huh.
so if I had like a bunch of them and that were paid, but then I wanted to see which ones are not paid, I can just click on this column and then
Oh,
just
okay.
follow up on the ones that are not paid.
Okay.
But the green box means that it's fully paid.
Okay.
So we
But
can
it doesn't
separate it.
automatically send an email to the customer.
No, not at this time. It doesn't send
Okay,
any
that's fine.
reminders about the credit
Like,
balance in the balance of the invoice. No, it doesn't do that right now,
okay,
but it can
that's
show
fine. I
you.
mean,
Mhm.
we
So
can easily follow up on the few that haven't paid.
yes, yes, and also this information will show on the dispatch grid as well. So
Okay.
it will show a box here that this particular order is fully paid. So even the dispatcher can see if there's one that hasn't been paid.
Okay. Okay. Well, my vote is yes. So, but I don't really, I don't really matter much. But I definitely want Heather and B to be able to look at it when they get back, and then if there's a way that we can, have a demo that we can play with, just to kind of see,
Sure.
what it can do for our stuff.
Right. Well, I recorded this session. Obviously, this will be available to you. You can share it with among your other staff. They can see what if they're interested in this, seeing this part of the system. I recorded this session, so I'll send you a YouTube link, and you can watch it
Okay.
at any time. The As far as we haven't covered the maintenance part yet, so that's the part
Right.
that you might want to have your staff come in and look at more in detail. But one thing that's really nice about our system is that our maintenance module is integrated with the charter. Whereas with RBS and some of the other programs that are out there, you have to use a separate program. I think they use RTA or some other. So it's optional. If you want to use our vehicle maintenance, it's available to you. You can use it. It has all the features for service reminders and vehicle maintenance and as far as service orders and so on.
Okay, so when will they be back?
They'll be back in the office Thursday.
Right.
Okay, but they'll probably be inundated with stuff when they get back. So maybe we can schedule something next week for them.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, well, just let us know. Get with them when they come back, and like Jay said, this is recorded, so they'll be able to take a look at this, and then of course we'll be happy to. One of the things you can do is come up with a list of questions, additional questions you might have that you didn't think about, and then when they come back, we can schedule a meeting, answer those questions, and show you the maintenance part of the program.
Right. What about the IFTA fuel tax reporting?
Mm-hmm. Yes, in each of our trip we have IFTA tracking. So we can track, the fuel purchases for each state, and you can put in the odometer start, odometer at the exit, and also the gallons that you purchased, and then our system will generate the IFTA report for you.
Okay.
So you can run it for any by vehicle type or by just the entire fleet. And then we also have the option for you to be able to now send this information to Excel and email it to yourself. So for example, one of the things that you might want to do is do some audits. And so you can say, okay, send this all the IFTA information as Excel to my email. And then you can then go through it and see all the fuel entries. So yes, we do have IFTA reporting, and we tracked IFTA for each vehicle and each trip.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate y'all's time.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your time. And like I said, put together some questions. We'll get this over to you once we've published it, and then we'll give you a private link to the video, and then just get back to us, and we'll schedule that next meeting.
Okay.
Yes. Well, you really had some really good questions in this session. So all this is available to you and your other staff. So if they take the time and actually watch the video, they can see the entire demo like I just did. And then if they want to see the other parts of the program, I think it's great. We can show them the maintenance part and go through the maintenance. Yes.
All right. Well, I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Well, have a good day. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.